for her meeting very early. This is, of course, helping. Of course, you can't get up and must, right? So that isn't an action verb. Linking, Lisa isn't leave, right? You can't link her to the adjective leave, so it has to be helping verb, especially because it does have present, future, and past tense, especially future tense here with the must for her meeting very early. It's tricky, I know, but we're really getting you prepared for your quiz tomorrow. All right, let's see what we got here. Tyler walked to school with his brother.
What?
Cool. Yeah. So, action, of course, you can get up and walk right now. So that is an action one. Even though it is in past tense, it doesn't really help the main verb because walk is the main verb. That is something you can get up and do right now. So again, that one's a little bit tricky, but just make sure if it's something you can get up and do right now, that's an action verb. Oh, Maggie fell off. Trent, there you go.
I'm right behind you.
It's okay, I'm not getting on the board.
No, it's not. You're not gonna pass me.
This is the word. Oh my God, the word is.
Dang it, I knew it too.
Had
I knew
stolen.
it too.
Of course, you can't say Maria is stolen. That's not an adjective, so it can't be linking. You can't get up and have right now, so it's not action. It's helping because had is helping. Stolen is putting the tense on it, so it is a helping verb. Very cool. Yeah, helping and linking are definitely the tougher of the two categories of verbs, so hang in there. We'll get it.
Dang.
Get it right.
Dang.
What? Okay, no, that
I
one
am
is wrong.
so confused.
That one is
I had a
wrong.
50-50
No,
chance.
it's so linking.
So
I had a 50-50
It's tough,
chance,
I know.
and I picked the wrong one.
It's tough, but when you get a question like this, you don't exactly know. Go through the process of elimination. Of course, nobody said action, so you know you can't get up out of your seat and might right now. Now the tricky one is linking because if it did say Mr. Holmes is the greatest teacher, then it'd be linking because you can say he's the greatest teacher. But it says might be. You can't say Mr. Holmes is B, right? It's that might that's helping it out. That's why it's a helping verb. So it's the one right after, the word right after where it's gonna let you know. Yeah.
How is it helping if there's no like past, present, or future tense?
Yeah. So be is the other verb right here. That is the verb in present tense. He might be. You are something. You be it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
No.
yeah, this is tricky. This is tricky for sure. So if it was Mr. Holmes is the greatest teacher, you can say Mr. Holmes, greatest teacher. That makes sense. But this one says Mr. Holmes might be the. So you can't say Mr. Holmes the. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's why it's a helping verb. Very
Oh
cool.
my God. It makes sense, but
I
I can't
gained
do
so
that
much
one.
knowledge. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do
It's like-
Guys, I'm telling you, helping verbs are tough. I'm, almost a senior in college and I still have struggles with this. So don't worry about it. We'll get it through for sure.
That's so easy. So easy. Let's go.
Yeah, I was about to
I'm
say,
top 3 again.
I'm-
I'm top 3.
Yeah, so you can get out of your seat and bounce the ball right here. Action verb, very cool.
Get out of your seat.
All right, and then the last one.
Yes!
Yeah, there you go. Ended on a good note for sure. So the students are going to write a summary today. Of course, you can't get up out of your seats and are going, right? That doesn't make sense. Linking, it doesn't really have an adjective. It is helping because are going, it means you're going to do it. And it fits because you guys are actually going to write a summary today. So with that
I
done,
fell all the way.
let's see if you won. Very
First
cool.
place person can have a starburst.
Yes.
Oh, that's not even.
Oh.
Yes!
he was still like you.
Yeah, there you go.
As long as I won, as long as I
Good
won.
job. Yeah, so you guys got that quiz tomorrow. Of course, this one was a little bit trickier of a Kahoot. We're really trying to get you prepared. So there you have it. Now, if you guys want to open up the agenda for today, we are now, or I'm going to click on the video. You guys don't have to. It's just for me. But we're going to watch a quick video. Awesome. Yeah, we're going to watch a quick video setting up the article that we're about to read. Then we're going to discuss this video. But first, actually, let me get you guys into groups. Now, you guys are going to be in groups of 2, and I think we have 9, right? So 1 group of 3?
Yes, we can do that, or we can do 3 groups of 3, whatever.
3 groups of 3. That works even better. So yeah, if you guys want to move around, 3 groups of 3 you can choose. Let's try to get it quick though, so we can carry on with the class. But yeah, you're going to be in these groups for the rest of the class, so choose wisely. And if you guys want to move your seats, feel free.
No.
I'm coming. Swan. Thank you for throwing at the end so I can win. Thank you.
Trey, you got my starters.
Oh,
You have braces. I
Oh, that's,
realize that a lot of people have braces.
Oh, yeah.
What could I give you instead?
I think I went backwards.
You want mint instead? Sure. So you can have like one of these ones that you can,
I went in
or
backwards.
mint, that you can suck on, or you can have one of these ones. One of these? Yep.
Alright, so yeah, if you guys want to face the TV, so we can watch this video real quick. Now, as we're watching this video, think back to the short story, The Flowers, and the article that we read a couple weeks ago that was about the time machine. Think back to those articles. We're going to connect it to those here afterwards. So with that in mind, let's get this going.
What's gonna happen? Cases were still going up. This virus has enormous capabilities. Just quiet on too much.
This is not it. This is an advertisement. Don't get your hopes up. Don't get too invested.
Yeah.
I told my mom I was coming to Montgomery, Alabama, and I was gonna go to what I told her was a lynching museum. And she said, why would they wanna do that?
Yeah, I think that we have developed a really advanced coping strategy of silence.
This is the National Memorial for Peace and Justice in Montgomery, Alabama, a site dedicated to the more than 4,000 victims of lynching in America.
You know, we started the research years ago, and then the monuments started to come. And when they arrived, I think the thing that completely blew me away, that I hadn't just thought about before, was sort of seeing these names.
He is Brian Stevenson, a lawyer who founded the Equal Justice Initiative, or EJI, an organization with a long and powerful record of getting more than 100 people off of death row, of fighting for juveniles with life sentences, and of winning cases that went as high as the Supreme Court.
Even in the names, you see stories like this is an entire family that's killed in Tatnall County, Georgia. And those stories are everywhere. Elizabeth Lawrence lynched in Birmingham, 1933. School teacher coming home, she was walking and a bunch of white kids started throwing stones at her. And like any good teacher, she said to these kids, don't throw stones at people. They went home and told their parents that they had been chastised by a black woman. Their parents were outraged. They organized a mob. They went to her home and they lynched her.
Alright, cool, sweet. So, thinking back to The Flowers and the other article that we read, the Time Machine article, well, with The Flowers, what did she find in the woods? What was the big twist at the end? You guys remember?
Yeah.
Yes, what did she find?
She found a dead guy.
Yeah.
There was a noose, so he was on him.
So we can presume that somebody hung him which another word for people hanging another person, especially based on race, is lynching. Bingo. And same thing with the time machine article that we read. It was going over somebody who was lynched, right? So this museum right here, which we're about to read an article on, is a museum based on the victims of lynching. Now, lynching and racism is a very itchy subject to talk about here in America. So what do you guys think? Do you think that we should make monuments like this to it? Do you think the monuments made for Confederate soldiers or things that are associated with this racial tension, do you think they should remain standing? This is a big debate topic, so I want to hear what you guys have to say. How do you think we should go about that part of our history? What do you guys think?
I think we should probably keep it because I feel like people are trying to forget about it.
Okay.
But it's also a thing that we need to remember, like own up to our mistakes.
Okay,
But like
yeah.
we don't have to look at it like we're still doing it, but
Yeah.
just something that we wouldn't want to do again.
Absolutely. So keep it up so we can learn from it and don't repeat it. Yeah, great. Any other opinions on the matter? Sweet. All right. So yeah, we are in the South. We are in the oven of it all. Of course, about 20 minutes from where I live in Russellville, Kentucky, which is about 30 minutes from here, so maybe like 15 minutes if you add it all together. There's a big monument called the Jefferson Davis Monument. Have you guys heard of it? Yeah, it's a third of the size of the George Washington Monument. It is a monument made to Jefferson Davis, who of course was the general of the Civil War. He definitely is associated with some of that racial tension and things. This is a big debate on how to go about it. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the article, which you can find if you go back to the agenda and then go to the lynching memorial dedicated to victims right there. Should take you to a Google Doc. Once that loads up, no. This will take you to the Google Doc. Bingo. Sweet. So yeah, once you guys got this pulled up, what we're going to be doing is within our groups, we're going to read this article section by section. From each section, you're going to take out 1 to 2 textual details of it. You're going to copy it down into this chart down here. Right here. So you're going to read the section, pick out a detail or two. We'll come back, talk about it for a second, get that evidence down on this chart, go to the next section, and then at the end we're going to put it all together, make a summary, and then go from there. Does that sound okay with everyone? So starting with the introduction, we're going to go ahead and read that. So from this picture on to most of the lynchings from the South, go ahead and read that within your groups. Talk about a sentence or two that you want to highlight, take out, that you really think encompasses what that paragraph or that section is getting after. And then once you guys are done, lock eyes with me. That way we can carry forward and talk about it.
Who wants to read? You can read. I'll go this way. Where did we stop reading?
Yeah, you're just going to start at the picture, the introduction, all the way to the second subheading. Yeah.
Y'all already know.
Yeah, we'll do the paragraph.
The National Memorial for Peace and Justice is a cylinder hilltop monument of rusted steel overlooking Montgomery, Alabama. In the 1860s, the city saw the birth of the Confederacy as states split separated from the Union joined together to form a unified government that would allow slavery. In the 1950s and 1960s, it saw the birth of the civil rights movement and also called for equal rights for African Americans.
The new memorial is one of the most powerful and effective memorials created in a generation. This challenging project forces America to confront the important history of lynching and racial violence. It also demonstrates the ongoing powerful fear and suffering that stretches unbroken time and
more than 800 coffin shaped boxes of steel hanging from a square cannon. It is the project of Brian Stevenson and his Equal Rights Justice Initiative. This nonprofit legal civil rights group represents 4 defendants in court. It represents juvenile offenders as well as death row inmates. Stevenson, a 1995 winner of the MacArthur Genius Grant, set up the EJI more than 2 decades ago and is focused on death penalty cases. In recent years, it expanded its role to include research into the criminal justice system and the history of lynching. In 2015, the group issued a thorough report on lynching.
What do you guys?
It added some 700 new cases to the tally of how many African Americans lost their lives to racial violence between 1877 and 1900.
Alright, what do you think the bottom sentence that is basically like the whole idea of so a lot of times it's specific, but this case is not really. I mean, actually,
Okay. So that is definitely an important.
Oh, maybe the
detail
last one where it
about
says,
what
it added some 700 new cases to the tally of how many African Americans lost their lives to racial violence between 1877 and 1900.
That sounds good.
It's just saying like,
I know some of those words.
mainly more on so
Yeah, well, you don't have to read that. I'm going to.
yeah, so this sentence right here, I think is
then do it in like,
this challenging.
A nice, oh, so cute, so cute.
mine's pretty nice.
Yours is ugly.
That one is what I. Alright, cool. So you guys had some time to think about it? Got a couple of details?
Yes, sir.
Alright, cool. So what do you guys think for the introduction? What sentence or details can we pull out that really wraps up what the introduction is about? Yeah.
I put it added some 700 new cases to the tally of how many African Americans lost their lives to racial violence between 1877 and 1950.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a good detail, but is it really about what the entire introduction is about? Now, of course, the introduction, you don't know exactly the whole article yet, obviously, because we haven't read it, but think to the video, think to the picture that we have, and to the name of the article. It's more so about the memorial than the organization. Yes?
This challenging project forces America to confront its wretched history of lynching and racial violence.
Absolutely. Yeah, so great answer. I know I helped you guys out a little bit, but that's what I think. Yeah, that's what I think this article really is about in the introduction. So it's talking about the monument, the lynching monument. It's saying this challenging project forces America to confront its wretched history of lynching and racial violence. So that connects back to the video that we watched, of course, and to the introduction. So I think the introduction can be really wrapped up and condensed in just that sentence. So if you guys want to go ahead and highlight that for me, copy and paste it, and put it down into the chart at the bottom. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Sweet. Did you have something you wanted to say?
I was gonna say, couldn't it be the first sentence too?
The National is a somber hilltop monument of rusted steel overlooking Montgomery, Alabama. So it definitely does have to do with the monument. However, it's really just saying what it is. It's just introducing the reader to what they're talking about without getting into the beef of what the article is. So you're definitely right. It's an important detail, especially that it's overlooking Montgomery, Alabama. But that first sentence is just saying what it is and where it is, not exactly what this article is trying to get at. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So with that said, let's go ahead and go to the second subheading, which is most of the lynchings were in the South. Go ahead and read from there all the way to counties made to share the guilt.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. What, so what's the lynching in the South? Alright. That work led to Stevenson's desire to memorialize the victim. He decided the memorial had to be in the American South, where the vast majority of these killings took place. Often, lynchings were public spectacles announced and celebrated by the local media. Stevenson says, the question I received
was me. What made it worse is that people treated that hurts.
Too bad.
That made it worse. What? No, wait.
Just restart, it's fine.
No, I did. I tried. What made it worse is that people treated lynchings as if they were entertainment, which the killing of a person should never be. The people who carried out this violence could have just shot people and buried them in the ground, but they didn't want it to be a secret. They didn't want to hide it. He says they actually lifted up the bodies because they wanted to terrorize. They wanted the entire community to see it, so they photographed the lynchings and made postcards from the images.
You're like excited.
What the heck? They're like, let's get postcards.
This is why.
Come to Alabama.
This is why this is based on the word cannibals. Okay. The memorial is located a few blocks from the EJI's Mall in California. This is not funny. The museum explains lynching as a direct continuation of slavery. It was a way of enforcing white supremacy and extending the slave system after it legally ended. Exhibits explore a history of violence and control over African Americans that continues today. Lynching was one way of continuing this uses of slavery. Today, black people are more often sent to prison than white people, extending this history of suffering and devastating damage to black families. This is the first two sentences. Right? The memorial.
I think or he decided the memorial had to be in the American South, where the vast majority of these killings took place.
I'll give you this section, we actually have a subheader, so use that to your advantage.
But it says that it says most of the lynchings were in the South, so that's like the subheading, that's the big idea, and that's what this says.
So, that is a very important
The second
detail.
sentence.
This section, we have the advantage of a subheader, so look back to the subheader, see if there's a sentence in there, that aligns with the subheader a little bit more that
Hey, you told
really
me that
fits,
mine was
what that paragraph, or that section, rather, is getting after.
I did your page.
What do you guys think?
It looks ugly.
It's only right on yours.
No, honestly, I think it looks good on mine.
I think it is,
Yours
especially
just, it just doesn't work.
that matches the second too. Yeah, so highlight that.
No.
It's a little bit awkward.
Are you guys good?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Alright, so, let's see, the second section. Of course, most of the lynchings were in the South. What sentence, or a couple of sentences, whatever, did you guys pull out to really encompass what that section's getting at? Yes.
He decided the memorial had to be in the American South, where the vast majority of these killings took place.
Bingo. Yeah. So as I've told a couple of groups, this section we have the advantage. We have the luxury of the subheading. You guys use that perfectly. So the second sentence of the paragraph, he decided the memorial had to be in the American South, where the vast majority of these killings took place. I think that does a pretty good job of encompassing what this section is getting after. So yeah, absolutely. If you guys want to highlight that and then copy and paste that down into the chart. Very good job. Alright, once you guys got that, we'll move on to the third section, which is, of course, counties made to share the guilt. You will read from there on to lynchings were a way of controlling blacks. So this one's a pretty short section, so you guys go ahead and get to it, and then we'll converge later on.
A second steel monument for each country is laid out on the ground outside. It looks like a vast open-air graveyard outside the main building. Stevenson hopes that individual countries or counties will claim this collect their monument will be shamed by the presence of the incoming powerful foreign on the grounds of the National Memorial.
The memorial also focuses on the monument, which is often viewed as a historical landmark. The steel monument forms are roughly human-sized, 3D and realistic sculptures of enslaved Africans and of the women who were at the forefront of the civil rights movement are placed through the memorial grounds.
I think it's counties that refuse to collect their monument will be shamed by the presence of the unfunded company. Because it says countries may be shared guilt. Like they're making them.
So like the other paragraphs don't really talk about that.
Yeah.
You guys remember it can be multiple sentences. You can take out more than one sentence. Yes.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that actually makes sense.
You're on the right
So the
track.
third one was the
You
second
didn't
sentence.
necessarily say that one in particular. I would look up.
And the third one
I would look
doesn't.
at the second and third sentences. Where it says, while the memorial addresses lynchings all across the nation, it focuses on counties that insist on the guilt of local communities, while other memorials speak
Oh,
vaguely
did we just do
of
the same one?
national guilt or crime. You guys, that's a little bit broader, it's a little bit hitting the beat above, this subheading that is trying to share the guilt.
I did it anyways.
About West.
Ow!
Yeah, so this is again, you guys are on the right track.
You
But
forget to click
I would
join
say-
button. Yes. I'm always make sure I do it, and I just make sure we rest.
The second and third bingo.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so while the memorial addresses lynchings all across the nation, focus on counties,
yeah.
insist on the guilt of local communities, while other memorials speak vaguely. That's really hitting us the beat of what that section. Alright, sweet, so I think you guys all have the textual evidence. So what do you guys think about counties made to share the guilt? What do you guys think? What did you guys highlight to take out? 2, 3. I'm gonna assume you mean the second and third sentence. How did I know? I think I told you guys. But yes, so while the memorial addresses lynchings all across the nation, it focuses on the American counties. It insists on the guilt of local communities, while other memorials speak vaguely of national guilt or crime. These are some pretty beefy sentences right here. So of course, let's see here. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. That really dives into what this section is. Counties made to share the guilt. So it talks about counties sharing the guilt and how this memorial differentiates itself from other memorials around the country, especially ones that have to do with this racial injustice. So let's go ahead. There you go. Cool. All right. So the last section, right underneath it, lynchings were a way of controlling blacks. Go ahead and read that to the end of the article. You guys know the drill by now. Just read.
White supremacy obsesses about and tries to control black people. This point is common in academic civil rights. This point is common in academic and civil rights, but less than among the general public. The public still sees it, mainly in the persistent criticism of the political appearance of African Americans and Latinos or political matters.
Here I go. This is a smarter memorial than many others, with too often deal in simple ideas of memory and meaning. How did it happen? Why did it happen here?
Can you read the next one?
Although this is a national memorial in every way that matters, it isn't technically a national memorial overseen by the federal government. Stephen and his team used private funds to make it. They chose the site, bought the land, and selected the artists, including Hank Willis Dana King, and Kwame Akpotubafo. They worked within the localized do-it-yourself tradition on the civil rights movement, in which ordinary people improvised numbers and planned to carry out powerful symbolic demonstrations of resistance.
Stevenson's long exposure to the problems of the
The
criminal justice system has made his artistic vision more powerful. More than anything else, he tries to bring not less. This memorial, which stands above the cruel and last and anti-racist, was it as bad as this? It was. Okay.
I think it's the focus on the body when it comes to the physical nature of public health. Second sentence.
That,
Oh,
talks about the monument as well. Alright, what do you guys think?
The second and third.
Alright, what?
2, 3.
Some of the body brings on the physical nature of public function. I like that. So I wouldn't say necessarily that. I do think there's multiple in this section. And I think they're both in the first paragraph, so multiple details that you could bring out. I think that is an important detail. I don't think it really encompasses entirely what the section is.
So this one isn't either? The first one?
What you got highlighted, the first sentence?
Oh yeah, this is the first one.
So I think the first sentence, the focus on county's forces visitors to confront responsibility in racial terrorism in an often painfully local way. I think that could be one, and I think there might be another one too. Yes.
The first one is
So I think there's more.
Neither of the ones that we
I think there's another one.
No, there's only 2 of them.
You know, bring out the section. I think it's in the same paragraph.
green.
Yes.
Okay, the last sentence.
Last sentence, which said.
This is the last one.
This one really just makes sense.
You're always on
White
the right track.
supremacy obsesses about interaction with black bodies and lynching.
He said it wasn't either of them.
Well, I hate it wrong.
What about the last one?
The white
The
supremacy.
public still sees the but that has nothing to do with lynching. That's just telling
Alright, so let's chat about it real quick. So what do you guys think about this section? This section's a little bit tricky. The subheading of this section can mislead a little bit over some of the details can convolute it. But what did you guys highlight?
The first sentence.
The first sentence. Okay, so I definitely think that this could be an important detail to pull out. We'll go ahead and highlight it. It's talking about how the memorial forces visitors to confront responsibility for racial terrorism in an often painfully local way. I do think there's one more in this paragraph, though. Yes.
White supremacy obsesses about and tries to control black bodies.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think that is an important detail. I think that connects it back to the subheading of lynchings were a way of controlling blacks. So I think you can bring out those 2 textual details to really wrap up this section that lynchings, of course, were a way of controlling blacks because white supremacy obsesses about, tries to control the black bodies, and then you can connect it to what the monument's doing, which is forcing visitors to confront the responsibility for that. Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and copy that. Put it at the bottom. Alright, very cool.
Wait, sorry, actually,
What?
Alright, sweet. So now that we got the summary done, we're going to do just a short little quiz over the article, or the details, I mean, before we jump into the summary. So let's look over this quiz real quick. talk it over. We're just gonna do one question at a time. Talk it over with your group. Tell me what you think the answer is, and then we'll go over that. So, for the first question, which of the following most influenced Bryan Stevenson to locate the National Memorial for Peace and Justice in Montgomery, Alabama? Whenever you guys group decides on an answer, lock eyes with me so that I know. And all right, cool. So what do you guys think? Yes.
B.
B.
C.
C.
B.
B. So the answer is actually C. It does talk about how the location is important because it overlooks some of those monuments that are lower on in the city. So that one is C. How does the design of the memorial relate to its message? So go ahead and talk about that for a second or two, and then we'll go over it. All right, what do you guys think? A? Good job. Yep, A is the answer here. I think that is a direct quote also from the article. But yeah, absolutely. What about which section of the article best explains why lynchings were made public? All right, what do we think?
C.
C, that counties made to share the guilt.
Or maybe D.
D, maybe, lynchings were away. How about B, where it talks about the lynchings in the South? Did you guys get that back there?
Yep.
Yeah, so it says in here, in this paragraph right here, which made it worse, is that people treated lynchings as if they were entertainment. So that paragraph right there really talks about how lynchings were made public and why. So we'll go ahead and highlight B for this. All right, and then read the list of sentences from the article. Which two sentences taken together best support the idea that Stevenson's work is forcing communities to confront the full extent of racial violence in America? All right, sweet. What do you guys think? A and D. The new memorial is one of the most powerful and effective memorials created in a generation. A and D being counties that refuse to collect their monument will be shamed by the presence of the unclaimed coffin form on the grounds of the National Memorial. I think you're exactly right there. For sure, that really encompasses. And then for the last question, the most important one, which statement below closely represents the central idea of this article?
It wasn't all about why it was placed in.
All right, what do you guys got for this?
A.
A?
A.
A? A? Cool, I can't disagree there. I do think it is A. That is the central idea of the article. Very cool. All right, so now we only got about five-ish, 4-ish minutes left. What I want you guys to do is go back to this chart. I want you to put these details that we took out, I want you to put them in your own words. So not in exactly copy and paste, but I want you to read that sentence, put it in your own words, and then we'll build upon that, and then you'll use that to make your summary later on. So go ahead and do that for a little bit, and then we'll go from there.
We'll have them start putting their desk back at about like 54. And so you just tell them whatever they don't get done, I'll make a video and they'll do tomorrow.
Why?
For detail from the introduction, put it in and delete. Really annoying.
Alright, what do you guys got on the first?
Why is your work? Mine's not.
Your computer's on. I don't like you. I'm kidding.
Why is it not working?
Oh, it's fine.
No, I actually need to know. I can look at the order of the thing. How it is. Oh, it's just myself. Why is the second one working? Oh, this one don't work.
So the only thing I'd say about
Oh,
this
can you fix it now? Yeah, no,
There's-
it still doesn't work. Down. Yeah, that's what I did.
So, it's right here. I would change it up a little bit, make it a little bit different. Alright, what do you guys got? You guys doing alright? Alright guys, here in just about a minute, go ahead and wrap up, we'll move our desk back. And we'll talk about where to go. Alright, so finish up the sentence you're working on, and then go ahead and move your desk back. Now, for the rest of the summary, I think it'll be due as homework. You'll make it
Yeah,
over.
tomorrow, so what I'm gonna do is tomorrow you guys have your verbs quiz, and don't worry, there's gonna be the definition for each verb on there, and it's not timed, and so take your time with it. And so tomorrow you'll have that, and to write this summary, so that will be what you have for, tomorrow.
Very
And
good.
I'll have a video to remind you, but yep, you'll write the summary and take your verbs quiz. So we can go ahead and start getting those desks moved back.
Absolutely.